I believe that mentality is the universal ingredient to success in any field or discipline. And when we try and like extrapolate it to fitness and just working out in general, it seems like mentality can come across in a multitude of fields, whether it be within the actual workout that you're doing per session, in the long term, reflecting and evaluating your journey, or just in general, the holistic view of your progression. And for me personally, there seems to be a spectrum to that mentality. And I believe that sometimes I look at training, I look at my performance, and I'm very biased to spontaneous performance. So if one session is bad, I'll instantly revise everything. I'll just go back to my constant musing, and that is a flaw in the way I perceive my training. And this is something I've really tried to improve on. I'm trying to work on just like trusting the process, remaining consistent, and just keep grinding. And I believe that in the sense of my program and performing like those exercises, sets, and reps, I am consistent. I managed to do the all the things that's required in my program in order to really maximize my progression. However, I feel like recently there has been something that's lacking or insufficient in my mentality. And it's that I I just don't feel like I am training hard enough. It's surprising to say this because I've always thought that I came in, I did the work, and I was being rather diligent with how I performed. But however, um, one thing that really popped back into my head because a while ago I used to watch quite a bit of Greg Doucette's videos, and his number one saying was train harder than last time. And whenever I watch those videos and whenever he mentioned that, I was just like, oh yeah, like I mean, I do that. I train hard. I just do the work, I do the sets, and like I'm doing it to the point where each set I am fatigued or near failure or like technical failure, right? And I guess those bounds are rather blurred in terms of calisthenics because you need to consider your form, which is a much greater emphasis on like on the planche, and also to the point where you can compensate stimulus where you can just like drop your form down a bit. And well, like when I compare it to weights, it seems rather a lot more complex. So I was like, okay, well, the train harder than last time mentality is a bit too simplistic for calisthenics, right? However, I came back to it and I realized that it's actually a lot more fundamental and it's a principle universal experience, I think, because for some reason I just feel like these recent days I've not been putting enough emphasis on the effort in each of my exercises. And today in this session, I really try to address that effort factor. When I try to demonstrate it, what I'm trying to say is for my planche push-ups, my pseudo planche push-ups, I was going hard. It was only 3 or 4 reps. However, I tried to make sure that every single rep count was just with full intent and maximum quality. I didn't try and like neglect quantity here and just be like, oh, just one really full like maximal hold or whatever. It was more like I was ensuring good form, minimizing the like breakage of my form. I tried to ensure max leaning, ensure like the load on my shoulders, and to like complete failure at that point, where I knew that I just could not push anymore, and I do understand and I acknowledge that with your training, you shouldn't do complete failure to every single exercise you do. I don't think that's optimal, and it's probably not the ideal way to ensure that you're actually getting the adequate like stimulus and the amount of work overall. That's why we do like 4 sets of 8, and we try and keep some reps in reserve. However, in this case, I knew that there was a much higher emphasis on intensity. So in this case, I knew that like even if I did push hard, I could rest a bit more and I could just get back in. And because of this, I realized I really have been neglecting this notion of training harder than last time. I don't think I have been training harder than last time. I feel like I've remained comfortable with this new baseline. Yes, I do agree that I'm pushing a bit. I'm pushing hard. I'm pushing close to my max effort, but there was this barrier, I think, where I just didn't want to push beyond the burning sensation. And I guess there is a boundary where there's a safety issue where you don't want to excessively push beyond like your injuries and whatever to prevent injuries. But in this case, I really did feel like there was just this burning point where I was like, oh, I reached my max. I'm just gonna tip it out here and just stop. And I don't think that's acceptable. I feel like I really do need to work on overcoming that barrier in my mentality and just keep pushing through. And that's something that I truly respect in many like bodybuilders, athletes, especially endurance athletes. Those athletes are insane in their mentality. They just keep grinding through. And if you ever took like a 4 kilo dumbbell and you just kept doing biceps curls all the way up to like 50 reps, there's a point where it's just pure burning sensation, and it's like you get to that point and you just stop. For me personally, I just stop at that point. That's more so for my conditioning work, and because of that, it's just like that one point that I've just become too accustomed to and too satisfied with. I'm not going beyond that moment. And you can see in these reps here, I'm really trying to just push as many as possible. I tried keeping everything controlled, but I really, really wanted to push beyond my comfort zone. And I felt accomplished, and it was tiring as hell. It was a different breed because it was a reality check to what I needed to do to invest and sacrifice for this journey. I need to really overcome this reinforced comfort zone and just push hard and, again, train harder than last time. And while there are some things that I don't agree with Greg Doucette, whether it be like natty or knots and whatever, I don't think I'm qualified to talk about this stuff, but his advocation for that mentality of training harder than last time is something that I keep deep to my to the philosophy of my training. Well, that actually sounds a bit pretentious, but just in general, the mentality. I want to start pursuing this a lot more in my future training, and just go from there. So that's basically it, and I'll finish it off here.